Shrink it. All right. We were definitely here. All right, so we should have been done with that, so we can move on to here. All right, so that's exactly what we were just talking about. Hey. By the way, in case anyone doesn't know, this fentanyl is right here. It's an island that's basically cut in half between Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Yeah. Okay. We don't tend to hear that too often because we tend to use the more specific terms for it. But suffice it to say, that is something that's helpful to know. Now, as far as the Lesser Antilles are concerned, they are further subdivided to windward and leeward, or leeward. Yes. Yeah. So, what does that mean, windward and leeward? Well, these are nautical terms, but they also can apply to how you look at how wind works. You guys know how wind works? Why is there wind? That's a terrible science response. I love this. It's one of those, like, you know you say that to somebody and we're all like, hey, that's funny. You know someone will be like, really? That's like the Washington rap that somebody I knew's mom was like, is any of that true? It's like, yes, Mom. He was 50 feet tall and made of radiation. Anyways, you guys know that reference. Well done. You get +5 internet points. Anyways, back to the point. How do you guys know what the process of convection is? Convection. Huh? No, convection. Convection is where heat causes movements. Basically, the idea is that heat is always dispersing. That's why, for instance, if you would put your hand against, say, a cold boulder, you're not going to warm that entire boulder with just your hand. In fact, that spot you're putting your hand on will be noticeably warm. There's a couple ways we can use this to our advantage. For instance, the classic way of thawing a turkey for Thanksgiving is to put it in cold water with a small drip of water coming from the sink. Because what happens is, essentially, the water is warmer and is working its way into and pulling out the cold, essentially. Or rather, it is diffusing. That's a really terrible way of explaining it. Essentially, it is the heat is dispersing into the cold area, and the movement allows that to keep circulating. It's sort of how you can bake something using an oven that only has an element on one part of it, because that heat is causing it to move. And it's not just energy that causes movement, it's actually air moves with it. This combined with gravitational fluctuations, like the moon, water movements, all this sort of stuff, means basically we're having constant movements. And generally speaking, when we talk about wind, we talk about prevailing winds and tropical winds. In any case, windward islands are those that are facing directly into the wind, that are being hit by it. Or to put it another way, if you take your hand and you blow into it, part of your hand is going to get hit by wind, the back part will not. The one part is sheltered from the wind. That's the leeward side, the word leeward. So, just something to think about. I'm sure that's probably Java wanting me to update. Let's see. Let's guess. Is it Java? Is it? Yes, it is. We are not interested. All right, so moving on. Now, as far as South America's climates, well, first of all, as far as the other parts, the islands of the Caribbean, that's pretty much all tropical. Yes. Now, South America gets a little bit more diverse. South America is very similar to North America. Actually, strangely enough, it's almost a mirror image of it. If you think about the equator splitting in half, they have a variety of different climates. For instance, you of course have seen in that episode of Top Gear we were watching the tropical rainforests. But if you keep going farther south to the tippy tip, you start getting areas of tundra. How do you guys think the penguins live in South America? They totally do. Penguins live in South America. True story, bro. It's pretty freaking cold down there. I mean, if you think about it, look on the map. Believe it or not, if you want to, my parents actually took a cruise around South America. It's 30 days. They started in Rio de Janeiro and worked their way all around to parts of Peru. And while they were doing this, if they wanted to, they could have nabbed a helicopter and flown from the very tip of South America to Antarctica. Just think about that for a second. It's that close. So we're talking, some areas are really, really freaking cold. We also have some areas of desert. Remember how we talked about the rain shadow effect? Okay, so that's where that's going on. That's the Atacama Desert. It's so dry, nothing lives there. Now there are, interestingly enough, certain animals that migrate through that area. For instance, you guys know what an alpaca is? What is it?
It's like a little llama-looking thing.
It is. It's a type of llama, you're right. Do you guys know what other type of animal is related to alpacas and llamas? Camels, right. Alpacas, llamas, all that stuff, those are South American camels. True story. Yeah, they're same family. Same family. They're cousins, if you will. Anyway, because of this, we have a pretty diverse biosphere. There's 4 different types of animals on South America's land mass than there are anywhere else in the world except the oceans. You guys know what the #1 type of animal that lives in this area is? Insects. Lots and lots of bugs. If you didn't catch that from top here. They have all kinds of big critters, that's for sure. And it's not just stops there. Now, why is this? Why do tropical regions have such diverse biospheres? Well, a large reason to that has to do with the availability of food. Consider this. Much of the human experience throughout history has been all about getting food. The earliest peoples lived by a process called hunter-gathering. So essentially, you've got large, well, actually not really large, that's not really true. You have small groups of families that form tribes for mutual protection, following the herds of animals and hunting them. Along the way, they pick up any plants that are edible, and that's how they make their living. That's how they survive. So think about this. If you hunt a big animal, let's say you kill something like a woolly mammoth. How much meat is in that woolly mammoth? Right? And if that's all you do is hunt and gather, essentially whenever you get that animal, you just hang around and eat on it until you can't eat the meat anymore, so it goes bad. So you've got so much food, you eat till you're stuffed, and then you just hang out and relax. It's really laid back and easy. Then, when that food runs out, you have nothing to eat. And so you have to go find another animal to repeat the cycle. So for that reason, it's often called the feast or famine cycle. You get a lot of food, you get nothing. That's not a really easy lifestyle. It's actually really, really hard. It's rough on the body, it's rough on people, it's not easy. And so eventually there was a transition as people figured out that, if we just build a fence around these animals, they can't go anywhere. So you don't have to keep chasing them. So you find an area that's got a lot of resources that you can just hang out in. You build this giant fence and you basically domesticate animals. Now, interestingly enough, we can also breed them to have the traits that we want so that they're friendlier to human beings. Unless you have people who have, like, first chickens. Pet chickens. It's a thing. It's weird, but it's a thing. And so, we have that. But we also have planting plants in one space as well. So we know where they are. We don't have to search for them. They're just right here. We've effectively created farming this way, yes? So, if so much of our lives are wrapped around food, think about what animals are doing. that second one. They're searching for food as well, yes? So think about what it is in terms of the easiest life for them. An area where food is plentiful, yes? An area where there's so much food they just hang out. Now here's the thing that's neat about that. In the tropic regions, there's so much food that only a small period of time is spent for animals to actually leave to go get it. So the rest of their time they can spend doing else what animals do, trying to find mates, reproducing, and basically just hanging out being animals. That's it. The other side effect of this is that this area that we're talking about, particularly in the Amazon rainforest, where this concentration is greatest, is isolated for human beings. I hate to say it, guys, human beings are the biggest predator on this planet. Think about any other animal that's a predator, very like sharks, wolves, tigers, lions, whatever. We have historically eaten them for fun. How many guys knew about the lion that was poached in Kenya and everybody lost their mind on Facebook about it? You know what I'm talking about? Cecil the lion, right? Okay, that was a sport, right? That's some dude who was, I'm bored, so I'm going to go kill this creature, and had zero problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Sure, if a lion gets loose and it's, in the middle of the city, it might get somebody, but odds are probably not very good at that. For one thing, a lot of animals are scared of us. Two, we don't taste very good. You guys like to watch Shark Week?
Yeah.
One of the things they talk about a lot about that is when sharks, whenever they bite somebody, what are they actually doing? If I watch Shark Week, you know what they're doing?
I'm watching.
They're tasting us. They think we're a delicious seal. They bite into it and go, bleh. It's sort of like whenever you go and you think, oh my gosh, this delicious chocolate chip cookie, I'm going to put this in my mouth. I'm going to, it's raisin! Betrayal! Now that's not to say that certain sharks can't develop a taste for human, but generally speaking, we're not very tasty. And if you guys ever watched the show, what's the movie, Jaws? You know what happened after that movie went down? People freaked out by sharks that went on massive hunts and just exterminated them. So there are entire shark populations that are having to be rehabilitated because we destroyed them all, right? We are the number one predator on this planet. And because they're isolated from us, we haven't gotten around to exterminating them yet. Yeah.
But they still kill you though.
True, but in small numbers. More people die in automotive accidents than any other. Basically, take all the predators predating on humans, combining them, not even close to the number of cars.
And there's another movie about
Sharknado. All those are climate change. Yeah. That was a good movie. It was a terrible movie, that's all right. That's actually one of the funny things about Jurassic Park, I always think, because the dinosaurs that portray it, some of them never existed, or don't look like that. Like the raptors, they're way tinier. They're about the size of a dog. You just punch it in the nose, wrap it with a piece of newspaper and a spray bottle. Bang! Make that sound too. Anyways, but one of the other factors that contributes to climate is elevation. Elevation plays a role because essentially, and this is probably no surprise, the higher you go, the cooler it gets. Also, pressure gets weird. With lesser pressure, or higher pressure, you can change the boiling point of water, and thus further affects temperature. So it gets pretty interesting that way. So when we look at the elevations of South America, which by the way, South America is basically a giant plateau. These elevations contribute to that. There's actually a really cool graph in your textbook, by the way. We'll be looking at that later. So first is La Tierra Caliente, the lowlands. Now, another thing to consider as we look at the interaction between humans and this is that South America still remains largely agricultural. So the production of various crops is very, very, very important. And so we have certain crops that are best suitable for this land area. Bananas, sugar, and cacao. You guys know what cacao is? That's cacao. It in fact is cocoa. Specifically, cocoa comes from a pod like this. This is a cocoa tree, right? Cacao tree. The pod opens up, and inside are white beans. Those beans, in order to get that flavor that we like so well, needs to be fermented, sun-dried, ground up, separated, and recombined with other ingredients to get something good. How we do it all the time, right? Because chocolate is amazing.
I love chocolate.
By the way, have you guys ever had hot cocoa?
Yeah, I don't really like chocolate. Is that bad?
No, nothing like that is bad. Like there's not moral police when it comes to you don't like cocoa to death with you. It's fine. It's not for everybody.
No, I mean, I don't like if you give me brownie, I'm just not gonna get it. Like that's too much chocolate. Hershey's bar, and it's too much chocolate.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now my mother-in-law's the same way. It's all good. But anyways, back to the point, guys. How many guys have had pure cocoa? Guys, how many guys have had pure cocoa powder? What's it taste like?
What if it's not sugar?
It's gross, isn't it? Pure cocoa is pretty disgusting. Now, Hershey's cocoa powder, like you're thinking of, that has additives to it. That's not what I'm talking about. The best way I can describe it, pure cocoa is, or cacao powder, however you want to say it, basically tastes like coffee grounds. It's super, super bitter. For instance, if you guys have noticed they have those chocolate bars that are like 70%, 85%, whatever, cocoa powder, it's a higher concentration of the bitter. It's like super, 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 super dark chocolate. What we're talking about is the percentage of cocoa powder in there. It's not exactly tasty. So what we've done is we've added things to it to make it tastier. You know, cocoa butter, milk, sugar. And the thing is traditionally, cacao was made into a drink. The Aztec peoples consumed this drink called chocolate, which chocolate. That the hard sh sound is actually an Arab term. I spit that out accidentally. But Aztec chocolate is this drink that's made with cocoa as well as ground up corn and chili peppers.
Ew. Is it like
It's toasty, yeah. It's actually really good though. Like you'd be like, oh, it doesn't work. No, trust me, keep chocolate on bread.
Have you ever watched that movie Chocolate on Netflix?
Yeah, chocolate. Yeah, with Johnny Depp. Easy. Easy.
Only reason why I watched that.
It's pretty good though.
I'm a very good
The thing people forget with a lot of this crap he's been in lately is that he's actually got some pretty serious acting jobs. Fangirling a little hard right now. I'm not judging you. I'm judging you. I have not. Anyways, these are things I don't need to know. We crossed thoroughly into this. That is actually cassava. This right here. Cassava is a delicacy in much of South America. It's a plant that's sort of halfway between a banana and a potato. It's sort of like a plantain. Have you ever had it? You wouldn't just want to bite it raw for a couple reasons. One, it's really bitter, and two, it'll kill you. True story, it's poisonous. It's got arsenic in it.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So that just shows to go, yeah, just because it's natural doesn't mean it's good for you. Yeah, but it can be, listen, it can be filtered though and processed to where it is a food. It's edible. And that's one thing to consider is there's a lot of things out there that you might not want to consume raw, but are totally cool when you cook them.
I have a question.
Yes.
When things are poisonous, if you touch it, would that be
No. Most likely not.
nice?
Now, it could. It depends on the substance. Like, for instance, mercury, yeah, it's probably going to hurt you.
See, but like,
Well, you're not going to go like, "Burn!" You know?
like if you touch it, maybe it rubs on you.
But it can pass through your skin. Well,
Oh,
it can't, a lot of it can't pass through your skin, but if you tend to have like little micro lesions, you won't notice. You got to give you a voice. Yeah. Yes, I've read the books many times, and yes. Actually, I've used that movie in my classes many times.
You know how to eat those blueberries?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's totally made up. It's fiction. The thing that people forget about that movie, I find it's kind of weird, is it's science fiction. It's not even light science fiction. It's hard science fiction. People are like, science fiction's for dorks, and it's like you're a dork and congratulations. It's all good. We don't need to we can share that. That's what I keep telling you guys, is that every time you don't get one of my references, then that just means you're a cool person. Just reaffirming that. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Hey. This is not to do with Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is like, yeah, hang on. Wait. So a couple of things. Is coffee from South America? No. Where's it from? Middle East. Yep. What about corn? Is that from South America? Well, at least the Americas, anyways. Well, I think it originates from the area of Peru, but I could be wrong. What about cassava? Yes, it does, because no one else consumes that. But what about potatoes? Yes, they're from this area. And that and corn are the most important contributions in terms of crops from South America. It's in everything. Seriously, look it up.
So coffee is and corn is and cassava is.
Correctamundo. It'll be on YouTube. La Tierra Fria is the next one on our list. It's good for potatoes, barley, and wheat. Mostly clouded forest area. The higher up you go in elevation, the less stuff will grow there. We get to the very highest points, we'll run out of stuff to really grow. We can't support life. We'll get to what we do there. And a skinny bit.
Skinny bit?
Now, barley and wheat are going to be things that originate from Europe. But potatoes are from here. Potatoes are really important. Because the fact of the matter is that potatoes are full with nutrients, like iron and all kinds of things. You got potatoes are what? Fruit? Ireland, is that what you're saying?
My dad made homemade from Brazil, and they were so good.
They're bomb, yeah. Now here's the deal, Here's the thing about, guys, here's the thing about potatoes. If you look at the nutrients in them, they have pretty much complete nutrients. If you consume that, nothing else, more or less. You're actually eating dairy. So for instance, if you have mashed potatoes and butter, that's good to go. Now, would you want to do that? No, probably make you a little bit miserable. The important thing is that's a lot of added nutrition. Nutrition is important because it keeps people alive. If you think about this, very simply, what limits the amount of human beings that this earth can support? Yes. Food. Without food, people starve to death, yeah? So, we need food to grow it, et cetera, is increase the population. That's what's going to happen in Europe. That's going to greatly influence the population of Europe in the next few centuries. All right, that's it for today. It's all good. Just saying, I don't have more time. Now, guys, let me give you a rundown. Okay? We did not have a quiz last week. You will be having one this week. Both show. Friday. Quiz this week on Friday. Everything we covered this week. Quiz or test every week, yeah. We didn't last week because basically ran out of time. I didn't feel there was enough that I could quiz you on. But this week, we're going to do it. Peace.